Oh yeah, we are live in this piece. Hey y'all, hey y'all. Hey, this is Uncle B,
Effie.
and we're coming to you every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On this podcast, we break down the ins and outs of relationships and explore topics that your mammy and your pappy didn't tell you about because they couldn't possibly teach you about dating in the 21st century. So we
Mhm.
think it's important to explore all these topics together and try to find some common ground in this new day. Now, before we
Yeah.
go any further, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. You know, we truly do appreciate that. And so today, you know, we got some questions. We got some questions. And this is serious. This is today's topic. Why do women think it's acceptable to wear bonnets in public? That's what basically what we're talking about is, you know, some things that have come up recently where everyone's just it's just talk. People are having this question about bonnets, and you know,
Yeah.
Monique talked about it, and you know,
Tammy Roman.
Kevin Samuels, and you know, people just it's just been you know an interesting topic, and I got my opinions. You got some opinions on that, Faye?
Well, I do have some reasonable opinions.
Okay,
I
what's your
think it's
reasonable?
more of a problem for men though. You know, like the fact that women are wearing bonnets in public, the only thing I can tell you, I have three reasons. I can tell you three reasons why I know women wear bonnets in public.
Okay, let's go.
The first reason, because their hair looks exactly the way they want it to look underneath the bonnet, and they just don't want it to be disturbed. Like sometimes women wear a bonnet when they're like, going shopping or they're, walking the dog, whatever the hell they're doing. They wearing the bonnet because they're trying to preserve that look, and they don't want dirt and dust and grime and stuff like that to get into their hair, because with black women, man, it gets really complicated with our hair. And it's like, especially if a woman is planning to wear her hair, I was about to say her real hair, but most of them ain't wearing their real hair.
Right, right, yeah,
But
okay.
if a woman is planning to wear her hair out, a
Hmm.
lot of times she's trying to keep her hair together in the bonnet while she's running errands and doing things in places that she doesn't really care about. So that when she goes out to the club or wherever she's going later on, then her hair is on point. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that she has like a protective style going on.
A
And
protected style.
yeah, so, okay, let me explain it. Especially for women that wear natural hair, protective styles are basically styles that kind of help you to not mess around with your hair or whatever, like
Hmm.
to not agitate it a whole lot. I mean, I don't even know if I should really say a protective style per se, because wearing a bonnet sometimes really, you're wearing you could be wearing a protective style as an example. A woman could
Hmm.
be wearing, like, let's say she wants to wear her hair kind of wavy. Like, let's say she has natural hair. She wants to wear it sort of wavy all over or whatever later on, and she wants to put it in like a style like a mohawk, or like I used to do this when I had natural hair. I wear like a little mohawk to the side or regular one, or just wear it out with like a little bun, like put something like this on and have it out like that, poofy, but with
Hmm.
waves. So like I would have like these braids that would be like all over my hair, looking like little pickaninny. I mean, that's just the honest truth. It just be like randomly, like just all over my head. And if you don't want to take those braids out because it's too soon,
Okay.
you just put the bonnet on. Because when as soon as you take those braids out, or even twist, two strand twist, as soon as you take it out, it's like the process of them, what am I trying to say here? Like they have a certain curl, or I should say wave pattern,
Hmm.
but the longer that they're out of the twist or the braid, the wave pattern starts to fall apart. So if a
So,
woman is going out that night, for instance,
mhm.
she wants it to look fresh. So she will keep the hair braided or twisted or even in bantu knots. Like something, those are all kind of considered protective styles. She'll keep
So,
them in those styles.
so these protective styles are for natural hair.
It's for natural hair.
Mhm.
Um, it could almost be for like even people that wear wigs and weaves. Like, okay, for instance, if a woman wears a wig, right? And
Mhm.
let's say she doesn't feel like putting her wig on and she don't feel
Right.
like doing nothing with that. A lot of times women braid their hair up underneath the wig now, slap the wig on top of the braids, but it'd be like little cornrows. And if her hair is kind of short, like let's say the cornrow stops right here,
Uh-huh.
okay, right here.
Right, right. Yeah.
She
Mhm.
like, no. Cause normally when
But
you cornrow your hair, you want it to be kind of long.
here's the thing. It's I mean, obviously it's going to be a ridiculous number of reasons why you would say, okay, a person wants to um just, wear a bonnet because of this,
Hold on.
all the different things.
Wait, just one last thing.
Okay.
One last reason. Her hair is a hot mess.
Hold
A
on one
hot
second.
mess. I
Hold
got
on a
you.
second. I guess I got a
I
hot mess
know.
over here.
Yeah, you like me last week now.
Uh-huh. There we go.
Yeah. Her hair is a hot mess underneath. She ain't got time to fix it.
Right.
Just slap that bonnet on instead of a wig.
Well, I guess the okay. So sort of the issue is like, to me it's people who are seeing it without knowing those reasons because most people who are seeing it don't particularly
Mhm.
care. They don't know. So
Right.
all they're seeing is the end result. So that's sort of the it's like between the presentation that's going to whatever special event or special
Mhm.
person or whatever, there's this thing of like, wow, why are you wearing that out in public? And I think the whole thing with Monique was saying it just wasn't like going to the store or someplace common. This is
Wait, let's
something.
recap what she said though. What did she say
Okay.
specifically?
Monique was basically saying that it's not a good look to be in airports wearing bonnets,
Mm,
pajamas,
mhm,
slippers, things like that. It's like you just
mm,
too comfortable. You just rolled out of bed. It's
mhm.
Monique, but she was being serious about it, and she was like, "I'm not judging you or anything like that. I love you, but that's not a good
My
look."
sweet babies.
Yeah, her sweet babies.
Mm,
So with that, it's like, okay, this is no longer you just going across the street. There's a reason for it. You to blah blah blah. It's like, hey, I'm going to set my hair, and then 4 5 hours later, I'll be presenting it, and in the meantime, I'm gonna have thousands of people see me.
mhm.
It's like, all right, that's not a good look. Can we not do that? And then when you take it too far, and this is the issue that I have, because I've heard different women saying, I feel like I'm being judged in this, white supremacy and blah blah blah. Was
White supremacy.
yeah, it was like
The hell?
European
What?
standard, the European
Mm,
standards of hair, because this is a different type of hair care. It's just black women who have
mhm,
bonnets, and it's like, okay, well, what's going too far then? It's like,
mhm,
I don't necessarily compare them directly, but it's that whole thing of like, the guys with the pants hanging halfway down. It's
mhm.
like, yeah, they can come up with reasons. Like, yeah, make my chicks feel comfortable. I can walk better in them. Whatever the reason why they do it, because I've never done it. But it's like, nah, that's nasty, man. It's just like, why are you
Oh,
doing that?
it is.
Yeah. So that's nasty. And so with their bonnets, it's not quote unquote nasty, but it's the same effect of
It
like,
can
why
be.
you why are you doing that? Why are you doing that out in public? If you couldn't get your hair done for the short period of 3 hours and be able to fix it, I don't know what the process is, but it's like,
So you're kind
uh,
of wondering, like, why do they feel like this is an acceptable thing to do?
yeah, yeah. I mean, just as many reasons as there is to do it, there are as many reasons not to do it. And
Right.
so, the reasons not to do it include the fact that, and I think this is the part that women may be missing out on, especially when they're talking about, we have this dearth of marriages, dearth of not a lot of stable homes and everything like that. And it's like, why are we picking something else to add to just, it's like, hey, are you paying attention to what men want, the black men want? Or do you realize that if I see you, it's not like, oh, I see you and you the one for me. Except, what is that bonnet doing on your head?
Well,
Is
what do men think, like, in general? Like, I've asked some of my male friends, but I want to know from you, like, have you talked to anybody or like have y'all
yeah, I
talked
mean,
about what do they think?
they just don't like it. I mean, I put it to you like this: the last conversation we had about sex and the aftermath of sex, and what the conversations you have. The first thing, like I said, the first thing that comes to a guy's mind when he sees you is like, okay, this is one I'm taking home to mama, or this is
Mhm.
one I'm just smash and dash. You know, whichever one it is, it's like, well, if I see you with a bonnet, you moved yourself into the smash and dash.
Automatically? Well, can
Check.
she ever dig herself out?
Well, I mean, it's like the first impression. So it's like
Yeah, I
the
get it.
first time you saw a guy and he was like looking crappy, like bummy. Then the
You're
next time
right.
you see him, he's looking better. It's like, all right, but
I don't know which one is real. Well,
yeah.
are you going to be crappy again, or is this really who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just trying to impress me this one time? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like yeah, I'm driving down the street with you in the passenger seat, and one of the fellas looks over and like, hey, your woman got the bonnet on. Yeah, okay. That is it's not like for guys, if you're asking guys for well, man, I haven't, done a pure poll, but for most guys, it's like, well, it's not needed. It doesn't make you more attractive. Let's say that. It doesn't make you more attractive. And it does put you in a position of, the way that you would respond to somebody based on certain situations. So, even if you are out and about just at the store, if you have your bonnet on and you're like, I have my bonnet on and I have some clothes on that's representative, like okay, I'm actually going somewhere. If you're going and you got your bonnet on and your slippers on and you look like you just rolled out of bed, it's like, okay, you just rolled out of bed. Why do you look like you just rolled out of bed?
But
Most
let
people
me
know.
stop you and ask you this question.
Mhm.
I understand, and I'm definitely not advocating for bonnets at all, but I always play devil's advocate because I always see all sides and I'm always just curious.
Mhm.
What if her hair looks worse underneath it? Because most of the time, even though I said the first two reasons was the protective style and her hair is exactly what she needs it to be, but she doesn't want to ruin it too early. A lot of times women are doing it because their hair is messed up and they don't feel like slapping on a wig or they just don't feel like dealing with it. So what if her hair looks really jacked up?
Well, if her hair looks jacked up, I mean, aren't there other techniques to like you have a scarf over your head? It's attractive. It matches. I
Well,
mean,
that's true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, do
Yeah. You can
something.
wear a
It's like,
scarf or something.
yeah, if a guy, let's say he was in the middle of getting his, locks done, or he has, I don't know, he's doing something. Half of his hair is cut, the other half is not because of whatever reason. It's like, yeah, put a hat on.
Yeah.
I got you. But yeah, I mean, because here's the question: when did it start? First of all, I mean, I know that
Mm.
people. I've seen bonnets before. My mother had bonnets, my sister had bonnets. I know about bonnets, but they were always
When
in
did
the
it
house.
start walking out in the public?
Yeah. And then just being, and I noticed some people will say, well,
Y2K.
oh God, was that what it is?
I'm
But
just saying, it seemed like a lot of stuff started in Y2K. A lot of stuff that just kind of started the descent of mankind.
well, yeah. So
But
that.
I did actually kind of notice it. Like I noticed that women were starting to become more comfortable wearing slippers and pajamas in public. Not
Hmm.
like they were doing that in like large numbers, but like you would see the occasional woman. Now, this is what really tripped me out. I would see the occasional woman with the slippers and pajamas on and a bonnet, but then she got those big old eyelashes. But I'm
Hmm.
talking about before the eyelashes became popping the way they are now. And I'm not advocate of that either because it's just
Correct. I mean,
a
and
mess.
that's the thing. It's like, are we telling young women it's like it's fine to not care what other people think what you look like? Because the truth of the matter is not.
Yeah.
It comes down, if a person, like someone asked Kevin Samuels, if you come across a person who is wearing a bonnet, are you going to treat her any different? You don't think of her any different. It's like, well, he's not going to treat her any different. But it's like, like anybody, it's like, okay, I'm not going to open you up to my clientele friends. If I'm doing something that's important, it's like, I'm not like, hey, Mr. Mayor, come and
Mhm.
meet. I'll go with the bag on the head. It's a you're going to
Because
miss out on things.
you don't know if she's gonna misrepresent you at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's misrepresenting herself, and it's like, is this this what you do? I mean, and for those people, those women were saying like, guys are okay with this. Is like, are they okay with that? They're just trying to fuck because like they don't particularly care because like what do you if you look out you look sloppy in public, you look sloppy in private, he looks sloppy along with you. There's no aspirations. You just got what you got. You just don't care. Okay, if you have your man, he doesn't care. Okay, that's fine. But what else are you representing? You know, we always talk about how people look at us and they're always judging us. Well, if we know they're doing that, then you can't say, "Well, I'm just going to wear whatever I want to," so because they can't judge me. And it's like, yeah, but now you're looking like a hot mess, and the men that you may purport to want are now looking at you like you're a hot mess.
So when the men are looking at these women with the bonnets on, what specifically like are they thinking about the woman? Like I know I hear what you're saying about the smashing dads, like, okay, we put her in the category. We just
Mm-hmm.
smashing, whatever. But what specifically are they thinking? Is it like a matter of no self-respect, no dignity, no pride, like, or is it not even that deep? It's just like, ugh.
I mean, it's. I mean, it depends on obviously the guy who's looking, but what all comes down to is like at the end of the day, you do represent me. It's like when I say take you home to mama, that means taking you
Mm.
to everybody. Mama Cena, everybody gets to see her. So now,
So it's almost like you feel like you would be getting embarrassed and like she's misrepresenting you as a person.
yeah. If we were a couple, yes,
Mhm.
no question.
Okay.
And like I said, it depends on the guys, but guys do think about what is my daughter going to think. Hell, he may even already have a daughter, and now he's like looking at this woman like, you ain't gonna teach her that. Come on now, she's gonna be. I
Now,
mean,
does it also have something to do with something deeper? Like, is it like not just about the bonnet, but maybe the bonnet also represents just her sense of self respect in all of her dress, like the way that she presents herself to the world, or is it specifically also just about the bonnet?
I mean,
Or-
the bonnet represents that. It's like, what's next?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
if I, and once again, it's the first time you see somebody, that first 7 seconds in your impression, it's like you go over somebody's house and you just step in the front door and it looks like a disaster zone and like ew, icky, and a person asks you to come
Hmm.
back over later on is like, um, um, I'm not sure. So yeah, it puts it into for no particular reason other, and
Right.
also it's like those two things that you said. I mean, those make sense, and I'm quite sure. I've heard that before, and I understand that about. It's either you're trying to save it for something to look good at, or you're trying to hide it. Got you. All right. So what is that telling me? Well, you're trying to save that for somebody. Hopefully, maybe it's an event. I don't know what you're going to, and if it doesn't look like you're going to an event, it looks like you have slippers and house shoes on, and
Hmm.
I saw a girl walking around this building with a bathrobe on. I mean, she's inside of her building, but it's like,
Hmm.
why are you in such a rush? It's like that's what you're doing. It's like I'm too busy to think about it, and it's I'm not saying it's selfish, but it is like you're just thinking about yourself. It's like my comfort, my what I plan
I
on being
mean, but
around.
is that really like is that offensive to guys when they see that? Or like do you think that's offensive to see a woman like that?
I don't think it's offensive. It's just it doesn't do anything to help the situation.
Mm.
So if you're seeing her, it's like I've seen this in the airports. And it's like you have like four different women, all different ages. It's an adult, it's a younger one, it's like, all the way down to like a 9 year, and they all got bonnets and they all got walking through the, like,
What? You saw that in the airport? Like literally all of them had bonnets on.
yeah. It was like it
Wow.
was a fashion thing. It was like, what in the y'all look like you just rolled out of bed. You look like a hot
They know
mess.
they're gonna be sitting on that airplane for all that time. They're like, I am not wasting this good hairdo for the plane. Or chances are they probably really had their hair wrapped up underneath that. And they was like, let me keep it wrapped up. But they don't want to look like the pickaninny that they look like without the bonnet.
I mean, let's just say,
Like
it
I said, I ain't advocating for it because
mhm,
I don't think it's cute and I don't think it's cool.
yeah.
But that's
I
my
mean,
personal opinion. It's whatever.
and let's hop a little bit deeper. Do women know or even care what men think about it?
Honestly, I think that for the most part, that women probably don't care. I don't think
Mm.
women even really look at it deep enough to even or think about it deep enough to care. And part of that is because, and this is this is something that, we're going to talk about on another show one day. But I think that part of the reason why they don't care is because they feel like, oh, I know I'm going to get hollered at anyway, or I know this guy is going to still try to get with me. And unfortunately, a lot of times when women are getting hollered at by a man, even if the man has no respect for her and he's just trying to get some, it still can send a message to, especially a woman who's not really like, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
say street smart like that, but women who just kind of, they're a little bit dumb. I'm just gonna say it like that, a little dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Yeah.
women think that, oh, because he's talking to me, just because he's talking to me, he
Mm-hmm.
must like me. He must think I'm cute. So that
Mm-hmm.
means I could put this bonnet on. I'm gonna still get hollered at. I'm still cute, or nobody is gonna correct me because a lot of women are just used to
Mm-hmm.
walking around not getting corrected. There's no repercussions for any of their actions ever, and
Mm-hmm.
so they don't really think deep enough to think, well, if I do this, what's anyone gonna think? Because no one ever. I think that a lot of people in society, frankly, to be honest, especially with black women, a lot of people are just afraid to say anything to black women
Oh yeah.
because they know they're gonna pop off. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that when black women just get ready to do anything they feel like doing, they just do it in a lot of cases without really having any type of
And
regard for that.
I think this is the important part is that that's going to be your outcome because if you don't care, if you're not paying attention, I mean, your example of the person who's just getting hollered at is like you're getting attention from somebody you don't want. So whatever your thought process is, just recognize if we just get this out into the air that you're attracting down. You're not getting what you could get because you're representing something that just, you know, guys
But
are
those
like,
women are usually just used to getting that. They're used to getting the
hmm.
neighborhood dudes. So if the neighborhood dudes are used to that, I think what it is it's kind of like,
Well, I
and
mean, you're saying getting able to do. I guess it's this sort of like a Kevin Samuels type of question. Do they want to
mhm.
get married? If you're trying to have a serious relationship, get married, then this is the opposite of what you should be doing because it's
But
like,
you're being very logical. And
well,
a
I
lot
mean,
of times people that do that stuff ain't being too logical.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. I think it needs to be put out there because, like
Yeah.
you said, a lot of people have been so scared of saying something, and now it's like guys have been saying some things, and then there was some blowback on that. Then Monique said it, and it was like even bigger blowback, and it was like, hold up. So
Well, who
guys
can
can't
say
say it.
something?
And so, another example in my building, this chick got off the elevator. She had a bonnet on. She had slippers on. She had drawers on out in public with drawers
You
on.
mean she had drawers on?
Basically, they
Like
were
that was it?
yeah, it was flesh covered. They were shorts. The shorts that come all the way up over that hump in your thigh,
Yeah.
went
Okay.
around and sort of went up the crack because she was tall and had a big butt, and so the crack was creasing in there. And so I'm like,
She
literally,
was trying to get some attention.
oh yeah, she got my attention. I pulled out my phone. I started shaking. And so I mean,
You
because
was
I was
like,
like, I had, I was
hey
videotaping.
y'all. Do, do,
I was
do, do.
videotaping. I was like, this world star. I was like, yo, what is going on? This is too much. But as I pulled it out, she started digging and pulling it down. And I was like, oh, that's nasty. I just put the phone down. That I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
not.
okay, is that too far? I mean, if you're having that discussion with other women who are like wearing, you know, tight things that are like, hey, are you taking things? I mean, as a guy, and I'm gonna say this, it's gonna be a lot weird to a lot of other guys who haven't thought this all the way through. But if you're going around, every woman has yoga pants on. To a point, it's like it's not exciting anymore. I seen that all the time.
I mean,
I mean, you go to the gym, it's like, oh, you are naked. You have this much on. I see everything. You are naked with colors. No.
everybody wants some attention now. These chicks be on some thirst bucket type stuff.
Yeah, and the
I
thing
even
is,
see it on LinkedIn. I was telling my friends, I'm like, LinkedIn
wow.
was supposed to, yeah, LinkedIn, they changed their format so that they can, I guess, compete with the rest of social media. So they have like a timeline where, people are just putting things like posting articles, posting whatever. And I even noticed on there, women are like, they're posting like pictures of themselves with a diploma in their hand, but then they got on this tight, sexy outfit. And one thing I noticed, it's never, ever
Ah!
is it a woman that
Mhm,
is dressed, I don't want to say appropriately necessarily, like because what constitutes that, but
mhm,
all of the women have one thing in common. They're all wearing super tight clothes, showing off their curves. It's super short. They got on stilettos, or they got on something that they're just really trying to show the world. And I'm like, okay, so do you want me to see your degree or your diploma and congratulate you for that? Or are you really trying to show me, like, this is what I look like? Look at me.
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
do get a lot of likes. And I'm like, so that same culture has carried over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's once again, it's the results that you're trying to get. If you're
Yeah.
getting, are you trying to get one person? I mean, that's the whole thing. There are billions of humans. You gotta get with one. So, it's like if a guy's seeing you in this way, once again, if a guy's seeing the first 7 seconds, like all human beings, I'm deciding whether or not this is worth paying attention to or not. And if it's worth paying attention to, uh, what am I going to do with this? It's like we plan, we do plan, but we plan whether or not we're going to what we're going to do to get you. So if
I just
already
feel
in our
like,
mind,
it's unfortunate, but and I'm just telling you, this is just what it is because we got a lot of issues, especially, in our community. We got a lot of issues with low
hmm
self-esteem, low self-confidence. And so women and men both display that type of behavior, their low self-confidence in different ways. And unfortunately, for women, well, unfortunately, I'm saying that women, when they're displaying their low self esteem, it's usually in a way where they're trying to get some attention.
mm,
And any attention is good. It's almost like how they say all publicity is good publicity, like
hmm
whether it's bad or good. Like they tell actors that and stars or whatever, because they're like, well, if they're talking crazy about you, it means that you've made it, right?
hmm
So unfortunately, it's like that same exact concept exists in a lot of black women. It's like all attention is good attention because I didn't get attention growing up or I didn't get the type of attention that I wanted.
mm.
So now I'm getting attention. And so, yeah, it doesn't really
Well,
matter. I'm getting it. But then I think what happens is they start dating a guy that's giving them this attention. And then they start to actually fall in love or like or whatever the guy. And now they're thinking, now they're confused as to whether, you know, this is a good choice or not. But
hmm
they're
yeah,
addicted to the attention that they're getting.
yeah,
And guys
yeah.
know how to play like that.
Oh, I mean, guys and women know how to play like that because there are guys out there who want. I mean, all humans want attention. It's just a matter of if it becomes warped, and it goes into our third and final question: how can we bring this to an end, or is that even feasible to ask
Mhm.
at this point? And I think this is part of the process in order to for me to bring it to an end. And is it feasible? It's just like all fashion. I mean, there used to be black women going around in droves with blue hair, blue bonnets,
I'm about to
all,
say, ain't they still doing it?
yeah, yeah, but it was more common. It was for like middle-aged women who were doing this. So it was like,
Mhm.
on some Marge Simpson type shit. And I'm kidding, but it was like a different style. So it's like, yeah, I think at some point, but I think what needs to go out is for women to understand this, like all things in life, this has a repercussion. And it's not about, someone else judging. Everyone gets judged. That's why I call it judging. That's
Mhm.
why we have judges. That's why you have schools, rankings, all this other kind of stuff. People look at you and they come up with like, I'm either down with this person or not. 7 seconds doesn't matter what you think about it. And do people will people read what is it? You shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Mhm.
That's not true at all. Everyone
No, it's
does that.
gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have no choice. I mean, that's how we're designed. Just like I can tell whether or not a person is friendly or not. Blah 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 blah. But if you're wearing something that people are like, then that's going to stick. And
Yeah,
so,
and I
yeah.
don't think I don't think that I mean, I just don't feel hopeful that it's gonna end until honestly, I don't think it's gonna end until number one, until Imma just say mothers, aunts, sisters, cousins, other women, like women folk in a woman's life or a girl's life, I think that until they start getting down on them and saying, "Hey, you need to stop that and stop allowing that behavior," between that and men not feeding into it, it's going to just keep going because there's nothing in place to stop that stop the
Well,
train from moving.
I'm a little bit more hopeful because there is something that's coming in place, which is the voice of men.
But
You
that's
know,
what I'm saying,
yeah.
except for men. If it's not for the women
But
in a girl's life or a man.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that I mean, but I think that's the difference because before it's just been women talking to women, and it's been an echo chamber, and you have people with agendas. Whether feminists like you can wear whatever you want to, whenever you want to, and can't no man
Mhm,
tell you nothing. It's like yeah, then the man tells you like, "Hey, I like you with your hair natural. I like you with
mhm.
your with less makeup. I like you in this, but not in that. You can't tell me what to do. I'm ending this relationship." Okay, that's the wrong message. So it's like with men now saying, "Hey, it is weird too," because I've heard this several times. A friend of mine kept telling his wife, "You look better with your natural hair." She just refuses to. It's like, who are you dressing for? Who are you trying to get attention from? So if you're like, I'm wearing bonnets, I get a lot of attention. Is like, is that because if you didn't wear a bonnet, you would get less attention? Because that's what's
Well,
actually happening.
it is part of that is subconscious programming though. When little girls, like when I was a little girl, my mom used to hot comb my hair,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually I got a curl when I was only 7. And then like after that, I had my hair relaxed. And so there's this ongoing message being perpetuated in
Mm-hmm.
society that our own hair is not good enough. And so there is a subconscious programming that our hair needs to look a certain way in order for us to present ourselves to the public. And really, it's more so about self love. And so that's why I'm saying that unless a woman has self love, unless she figures out how to have it on her own, or other people encourage her to, she's
Mm-hmm.
going to keep doing the same thing because she doesn't see a reason why. And especially you have these images, being perpetuated also where guys are dating women that look like something that the woman naturally doesn't look like. She wants to look like that person so she can get that same attention because getting that attention comes with benefits in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, I really feel like, and I feel like, on one hand, the onus should be on the women, of course, because women are raising these little girls and they are their first mentors.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like if men were starting to become more vocal with women
Mm-hmm.
consistently and in a uniform way, I really think that that would have some type of
Mm.
effect.
I would say this. Well, it's two things. It'll be difficult for it to be in
Mm,
a it'd be difficult for it to be in a uniform way. Um, because it's like, well, guys have their own opinions. It's a question of like, what type of guy are you going to be listening to?
mhm.
So it's like,
A
the
guy that's telling her, "Oh, you fine."
yeah, I mean, it's like, if you're trying to get to a certain level of guy, you know, um,
Mhm,
who he's a good guy, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, well, yeah, if you're not presenting to him yourself to him in that manner, then there are like I said before, there's just repercussions. And I think as the younger girls coming up are hearing more of this, it'll be like, oh, well, my father doesn't
mhm.
like because I'm quite sure there's a lot of women who never got the message at all that there are black men out there who prefer to have a woman with natural hair. I've been with. Hmm?
No, I'm like,
Yeah,
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 like
yeah.
me.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, if we're, if we can come back to like, hey, listen to the guys. If black women want to be with black men, we want our girls to be with our boys, then it has to be like some communications of like, yeah,
Mhm. I
I like
agree.
you healthy, not and like we talk about the weight issue. It's like it's also a health issue. It's like we're looking at women to be the nurturers, and so it's like nurture yourself, and that shows you can nurture me, and also you're an example to the children. And it's like there are a lot of guys who are like, I didn't know my mother had the same hair as me, and
Right.
and now we're going like, well, whatever the hair is, we're gonna cover it up. and and say, hey, you should just go along with that too. So it starts running into issues. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, I mean, and which I said, I mean, we both agree on that point, it's up to men to become a lot more vocal. And because believe it or not, and I think that men always do kind of have this feeling that women don't listen to them. Women do listen. It's just that unfortunately, most of the time, it's just really sketchy because guys are just saying things to try to get some. And so it makes a woman feel like, well, I don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's just saying, this for this reason. And then you also have like a large group of guys sometimes that are just feeding your esteem and or like feeding into all of that stuff because they don't care enough or
Well,
they're scared.
well, I mean, but it's at the same time, it's like you said, self love. And so it's like as a man, it's like, yeah, I can tell you a woman about self love, but our understanding of love is going to be different than your understanding of love. So I self love for a woman should be taught, to a point from a woman, because self love as a man is completely different than self love as a
Mhm.
woman. So um it's like, okay, we could, you're not going to get guys who are going to stop saying at some point, like, hey, our job is to give life. That means that we need to fuck, and then give our seed, et cetera, et cetera. That's the only thing we're on the planet for. Everything else is just made up. It's a job, whatever. But it's like, so us stopping going after a woman in mass because she has a bonnet on, that's not going to happen. But for women to tell other women is like, hey, you know what? There are guys. What kind of guy do you want? Once you know
I
which
guess
kind of guy
really
you
the
want,
fathers is a big deal. And actually, I just thought about something
just
because
like,
this all started because we were talking about Monique. Fun
mm,
fact: Monique actually did an interview one time, I think on TV1,
mm-hmm,
where she was talking about like I think the reporter was asking her. This is when she was big girl Monique. The
mm-hmm,
reporter was asking her, "How do you have so much self esteem, especially for the size that you are?" Because she was like basically,
mm-hmm,
she's the one that started this whole, I'm curvy, I'm big, and I'm proud. She
mm-hmm,
started that, right?
right.
So what she said on the interview was her father, she was like, my daddy just loved on me. She said, my whole entire life. She said, he always told me I'm the most beautiful girl in the world. And he never made me feel never made me feel ashamed for how I look, never made me feel ashamed about anything I did. He just told me how wonderful I am. And I was his little princess. And she said, I was daddy's little girl. So she said that built up my self-esteem. So it don't matter what size I am. I have this inner confidence that comes with the fact that my dad told me he loved me and that I was the most beautiful girl in the world and I was his princess and that stuck. And unfortunately
Woo.
a lot of households don't have fathers or strong enough father figures in the house. Sometimes that's for another show because
Mhm.
sometimes it's the woman's fault, but sometimes the men ain't fighting hard enough. But the bottom line is there is I believe there's evidence that suggests that outside of her too, that when a father is present in
Mhm.
both of his children's lives, it
Mhm.
does have a major impact.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's
Mhm.
that's the reason why we're designed the way we are. I mean, it's especially for boys, it's like the suicide rate for boys who have the father in the house drops, just plummets. So, um, and as far as girls, the level of confidence and the things that they hear. I mean, but at the same time, it's like once again, we don't get trained for taught about parenting. So
Mhm.
that's an entire another show. But
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but just in closing, my final thought on this is really that you know, as long as we are explaining to women the repercussions of it, which is the repercussions just basically being, if you're looking to be in a relationship, you're reducing your chances. You've not made yourself look more attractive, not only to some people that you don't know, but also to men that you do know.
Mhm.
Your husband be like, that was all good in the house, but why you out in here? You can't tell me what to wear. And it's like, now I'm looking at the person who doesn't have the bonnet on.
Mhm.
My fault. Like I told you not to wear that, but
Mm.
I mean, don't take it too far.
I got you. So basically, just let these women know. That's
Yeah,
what you're saying. Let them know
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
consequences and repercussions for stepping outside looking toe up.
Yep, yep.
Gotcha.
It's-
Well, hopefully it will come to an end one of these days. Who knows?
Can't wait.
Well,
Yeah, sooner than later.
anywho,
All right.
well, listen, what did y'all think about this? Do y'all have any other thoughts? Like,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like anything else that we maybe missed, as far as like reasons why women are doing it and maybe how this problem can be resolved? If you do, please leave those comments for us. We like to get feedback. We need it. We need it.
Come on
So
with it. Come on with it.
please do that. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, like
Mm-hmm.
this video, and
Mm-hmm.
again, leave us some feedback and let us know what you thought. Honesty. Be
Yeah,
honest, okay?
yeah.
And until next time, every Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time from 8 to 9,
It's Uncle B.
and B.
Yes, indeed. Later, fam. Peace
All
out.
right. Bye, kids.
You can cut all this stuff out. All right.